Okay, let me grab that. There we go. Now we're going to share screen. One of these days, I'm gonna figure out if there's an easier way to do this. And there we go. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about Rock Your Listing Presentation. And especially, this is what Deb, more towards Century 21 agents. So if anybody's watching this, not Century 21, we're going to go over Century 21 listing presentations. But in general, we'll tell you things that you should have in there and ideas and things that make them look great. And of course, if you're not with Century 21 and you want these kind of presentations, call us, join us, and that's even better. So we're going to go over some of our listing presentations, but since this is only like 10-15 minutes, just a little snippet of that. One, reach out to Debbie to book some time so she could go over it with you too. And also, Deb, is there also there are more and more classes on this self-paced on 21 Online right now too with the listing presentations?
Yeah, it would be Moxie Present. Yeah, the classes for Moxie Present will go through the actual presentation that we have and how to get through it and stuff. But the presentation itself on Moxie Present is very nice. It's super robust. Of course, there's tons of pages to it, and you just want to make it your own by taking some of those pages out because you don't want to overwhelm your
Right. You could do the
sellers with
really big
things too.
deluxe. So if you want to take a class at midnight and, and learn a little bit, get into our university. But Deb, I'll let you hit with the first one. Go through it. Go ahead.
Okay, so the objective is to provide key information to your seller to educate them and make them feel involved, right? And also to showcase yourself and what you're providing to them. So customize your presentation. Make sure that it doesn't look like this. This was actually sent to someone because they pulled the wrong thing and was not paying attention to what they were sending to the seller. And this is what the seller got. They got the blank one. So make sure you're paying attention. One thing I wanted to point out about presentations is it's never a for sure thing when you're talking to a seller. So even when the seller says, oh yeah, come on over, we'll have a discussion, that doesn't mean that they are not having a discussion with 3 other people as well. So don't think that it is going to be you and only you. You want to showcase your talents and what's going to happen with the listing when you're working with your particular brokerage, ours in with Century 21. So don't make it, you can make it cookie cutter. I say no cookie cutter, but because there are pages that are already made, but you want to pull out the ones that you like that showcase your personality. Make sure that your name's on there. There's a photo of the property if you can get one. The date and your contact information should also be in your presentation. If you have done your research on the property and it was listed before in the MLS, it's going to pull the data from the MLS and put it right into your Moxie Present. So didn't know if you knew that, but this is fantabulous right there.
It is. Next.
When you're talking to the seller, you want to give them all, not just your presentation itself, but you also want to be speaking to them to find out what is motivating them to sell the house, right? Listen to them. Don't respond yet. Just listen to what's important to them. Why are they selling? What any current issues they have with the house? What are their plans if it doesn't sell? What are they looking for in a real estate agent? Because if you're not asking these questions, someone else might be, and they'd be like, oh, wow, he went into really in depth with this. And you just kind of sent me this thing and said, here, use me, right?
Right.
There are, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yes, no, I've been across from sellers many of times. And before I started becoming full-time broker many years ago, not going out and listing presentations myself, but I do help with listing presentations almost every week. Someone's needs, at least one person needs some help with the listing presentation. But I've sat there many a times in front of sellers and see those blank stares where I could tell that I'm losing their focus. They're losing that because they're waiting for something. So I always like to ask what's most important to them at the beginning. So I know if I lose them, because if say it's a couple and one is more interested in what price do you think my house is worth, and they don't care about anything else, and the other person is more about how you're going to keep us and communicated, what kind of things that are you going to do to market the property, and the whole ball of wax type of thing. And then I like this last one, what are you looking for in a real estate agent? I always ask people, have you used an agent to buy or sell a house in the past? And if they say yes, so what did you like or what didn't you like about the experience? And then you'll find out right away. Usually they start with what they didn't like. And you to make sure that you do throughout the listing and explaining the listing presentation, don't go down that same path and explain how you're going to do things better, because most people that are selling, unless it's their first house and they've ever bought, are going to have some type of experience before. And if they sold the house before, one of the questions you ask is like, why aren't you using that agent now? Maybe they had such a bad experience, that agent didn't stay in touch. That agent was a buyer's agent and they didn't feel that they could handle the listing, things like that. So like Debbie's been saying, ask questions.
Yeah. And make your questions open-ended so that it's not just a yes or no answer. Let them explain things to you and listen to them too. Now, we're not going down the path of bashing other agents. That's not what this is about, but just to find out, what happened, because you don't want to make the same mistake that someone else did. So if you can get that out of them without into a bashing mode type thing, then it's going to be more beneficial to you.
Right, and these are where you see stuff like this, instead of jumping on that bandwagon of saying all the things that they did wrong. Say, well, this is how I do that better, or how I feel I'm have more experience in handling that, or this is how, that's same with any type of sales. No one wants to, well, most people don't want to hear you saying they're bad, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad, they're bad. I'm great. Just say how you feel that you're going to do better, and not putting them down and say, so it's kind of an art form a little bit of how to say you're better without putting them down and going that way. So next, go ahead.
Know your numbers. If you don't have any numbers because you're new, hello newbies, that's okay. Use your brokerages as numbers, because especially if you're with us, numbers speak volumes. And you can also use our reputation, like I said a few weeks ago, and I'll just remind everybody that we are 385 in the Real Trends. So we are in the top 500 for real estate brokerages in Ohio.
In the country.
In the country. Yes, I forgot. I keep saying Ohio, but we're in the country now. Yeah.
In the
we got
country.
The big leagues.
So I remind agents of this all the time, is that legally in Ohio, every listing is actually my listing as the principal broker. You work for us, even though it's your listing. A lot of agents forget about that. So agents, you use me in your presentations if you want. Use our numbers as an office, because they're all my sales, our sales in connection with you. You're allowed to use your office numbers. So same as teams, agents out there, some, are going against individual agents, going against teams, and that agent that could be going against listing could be a brand new agent on a team, but they're using the team numbers on their listing presentations because they have a team leader. But technically, and I explain this, if you ever have to explain it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, in comparison, again, not putting them down, I'm just kind of going into some training about going against teams. That agent you're with is a team member of a team. That team leader, great person, probably very experienced, but they're not legally connected to your listing. It's the broker. The broker is, and with our office, I team up with my broker, who's actually legally, that's his obviously if it's, it's me, I'm he, his listing. So I've helped agents have talking points to differentiate themselves in a, hopefully, of course, a better way to go toe to toe with some team out there at another company that's touting all of these numbers and years in business, when the team leader is really not legally connected to that sale, when one of their team members is the one physically signing it, and it's between that agent legally and the broker. The team leader really has no connection legally with that listing, if that makes sense. But if you ever need help with that, I'm happy to give you talking points.
Yep. Practice too. Practice with a family member or even in front of a mirror, so that you get your what I call spiel down pat, right? So you're not stumbling through things. So you create your presentation, your basic one on Century 21 MoxieWorks, Moxie Present. You put it all together, and then you're not just giving it to someone, you're explaining what it means. So go through the presentation, have it like maybe 10 or 12 pages of talking points. And then if you have your additional pages with your comparable market analysis at the end of it, you'll know if you're going to stop at your talking points or if you're going to continue on with the CMA information. Some people jump right into the CMA. Some people do it after. I prefer to do it after. It's going to be however your flow is and what you feel is most important to that seller. Like Tony said, the man might just be, give me the dollar numbers. That's all I want. The woman's like, I want to know what you're doing for me, because that's what we want, right? We want to know what people are doing for us. With Homestar, it's easy because you have a ton of information and help with your listings that you can showcase with your unique property site and your reports from Golden Ruler and all of the Moxie Impress marketing material that gets created for you for your listings. There is so much. You need to call me if you don't know about it, because there's a lot and it's all free, y'all. So free is great.
Right, exactly. And the other thing to think about when practicing is not too much explaining that you feel that your property is worth like you feel. I always try to explain to agents you should be saying what the market shows, because the property value, if you say, I think your property is worth this, based on the market shows your property, because you don't dictate the price of the house or what it's going to sell for. The market does, what the other sales in the area. So what again, Debbie and I could help you with some scripts. There's some scripts on 21 Online in our university. Just things to say during a listing presentation is that it's the market is showing this or that. And there's a reason behind that, without going into too many details, is that when they compare to other agents, and if they're interviewing other agents, they're going to say, well, this agent thinks this agent said I think this. And it might help you say, no, the market shows this is the range, and in drawing them to that conclusion by the data you show them. And based on the market, it should show that you should, if you want to sell your property within the next 30 days, 60 days, you should be in this range here, maybe a little faster here, a little slower here. Again, not say, I think. So again, that's one-on-one that we could go more in depth about that. Don't want to do a whole class on just that. So
yeah, Tom Ferry has a good way of talking about this too. And he says a well-rehearsed scripted presentation delivered with energy and enthusiasm will work all of the time. And that's from Tom Ferry, y'all. So you don't just get our point of views. I will also give you other people's point of views. So if you know who he is, he's a big time coach in real estate as well. Then you want to outline your listing process to them. So don't just give them the little pointers about all this other stuff. Go through the paperwork, go through the process, tell them what you're going to do for them. In your Moxie presentation, you have the seller's pledge, which the seller's pledge is a 21 pledge, right? It's the same thing that you're going to do for the listing. It's just outlined 21 bullet points. So use it, because you'll be like, oh my God, do I really have to do 21 things for my listing process? You're going to do them anyhow. So just do it. It looks better on paper. They can see exactly what you're doing, but explain all of this stuff. Explain what happens during the listing period. Explain the offers. Explain what happens after they get accepted, and explain that hopefully you will be sitting with them at the closing table when they're signing their final documents. The
Yeah,
whole,
that's real. That I was going to jump in to say this is really what separates you from other companies, because there's other companies that are, or other agents might even be with Century 21 you're going against a listing with, and they have a lot of the major companies have they're talking about how many websites they're on and listing reports of where they go. So you got to explain the things that you're going to do on the side. So yes, all the marketing and all the things that Century 21 does automatically for you is important. That's in our presentations automatically, but bullet pointing all the things you're going to do, the pre-listing, the marketing timeline, from I'm going to put it in the MLS, I'm going to put up a yard sign, I'm going to put some flyers in your house, every little thing that you're going to do that might separate you from someone else that's just going in with a boilerplate listing presentation and doesn't put all the little things, the steps, what happens with the offer, what you're going to do, how you're going to contact them, how are they going to sign those offers, at when you have an offer accepted, what's going to happen after that. The more things you put in there shows you more value why you're charging this commission, not just marketing the home and finding a buyer. It's everything else that goes along to it. So I think a lot of agents miss that in a listing presentation. I was talking about marketing, and then they jump to what we think your house is worth, and they miss all of that in between with this exact bullet points right here.
yes, couldn't have said it any better.
Well, good. Well,
Perfect.
so next, go ahead.
Okay. The most money in the shortest time is pretty much the objective of every seller, right? They want it listed yesterday, they want it sold yesterday, and they want it for top dollar. So again, we're just going over what we talked about here, and you can get into it in depth further with me or with Tony, but you want to outline your services, explain your value, and make sure the house is sale ready. So the next time we'll be talking about that stuff. Is the house sale ready?
Is it
And what do I have to do to get there?
Yeah. I get that question at least once every other week or so. It's like, what should I tell a seller? How do I tell them they should get the house ready to sell? Because you don't get a second chance at a first impression, so to say. That's
true. That's very true.
One thing. All right, next. Sorry, it cut off the top a little bit. So I guess I have to move it down a little bit. Whoop,
yeah, keeps doing that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think. Okay, so that's Mike Ferrante's listing secrets on the 17th. And then the 22nd is going to be another session with John Dewey on OFA. He had one today. I don't know how that went, but I know a couple people that did go there. And then the 24th, we have working with buyers. And then on June 1st, which is every first Thursday of the month, Hesh is doing his CEUs with OhioCE.net. So if you have any questions about any of those classes, we can send you the links to them, but you can't really get the link from here. So.
All right. And last.
And my tidbit for you guys is International Day of Living Together in Peace is going to be May 16th. I thought that this would be a good one for everybody to share on their social. We have so many things going on in the world, and at least for one day, we all have to step back and just think about peace and getting along with everybody else and just being happy for one day. So that's our National Day of Living Together in Peace on May 16th. So share that on your social media and let's get everybody to do it.
Sounds good. And like I say every week, I was like, always interested what the weekly, what the day, the important day thing that we could send to other people. I'm going to start using these on my Facebook too. Got to do that. I know
Yeah.
I bombard people with my daily motivations and these videos, but I got to use some of these too. Well, because I'm sure not everybody's watching the whole video to get to the end. So,
Yeah, right.
well, thanks for
Yeah.
joining us, everyone. Remember, reach out to Debbie or myself. We're happy to help you anytime. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk soon. Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Deb.
everybody.
Bye-bye.